This is 16.2 Techniques of a Coach by Spike Lesbrook Hicks. First off is the stages of learning. The first stage of learning is cognitive. This is for beginners to a sport, and when learning completely new skills, they're thinking solely about what they're doing when doing this, instead of thinking about joining skills together like associative or autonomous, where you don't actually have to think about anything because it's so practiced. With cognitive, it's all about the thinking of the process of how you do it, instead of maybe even tactics or visualizing it. You're getting used to a new movement and a new skill. With associative, it's for intermediates, and this is where you join skills together. So it's how to do everything, not what to do. It's learning almost when to use a certain skill, maybe in tennis, when to use a forehand, when to use a backhand, when to use certain types of shots. And with this, visual demonstration and verbal cues are needed less and less throughout. With autonomous, you don't have to think about it due to being so well practiced, and strategy is introduced and included through using this, knowing just when to use a certain shot, and it includes thinking about when everything will be more and more effective. For my first type of technique of a coach, I choose goal setting. This can be short, medium, or long term types of goals. So short, maybe as score a goal in the next match. Medium, to win the next few games, and long term, to win the league in football, perhaps. It works well as motivation, as it pushes you to a certain goal. So short term, it would push you to score a goal. Medium, it would push you to win those games, and long term, pushing you eventually to win a title or league or cup. So it uses SMART targets, SMART being specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, and time-based. Specific would be certain to a certain sport. Measurable being within statistical, so how many goals you score or percentage of pass completion. Agreed would be when it's been discussed with a coach or a manager to know that you're going to be putting forward this goal, and to help them either train towards it or to make sure that they keep the statistics for measurable. R being realistic being not setting a goal too high, so not having, perhaps with pass completion, 100% pass completion, or winning a league after only just being promoted. It has to be something that, or within that goal of winning a league after being promoted, this being quite a difficult league that you've just gone into, not expecting to do very well. So realistic being an achievable goal that doesn't seem too outlandish or out there. Time-based being through a certain amount of time, so winning the league being in the next season, winning a few games being in the next 5 games, perhaps wanting to win 3 of those, and it being within a certain amount of time that you can keep both measurable and agreed, staying with the coaches that can keep it measurable and keep it measured. Some pros and cons of goal setting would be that a pro is that it is good for motivation, and that when you do complete a goal, it does boost your confidence, and it can be for both a certain individual and team-based. So a certain individual scoring, or a team winning a game or not conceding. Cons, it does damage your confidence if you do not achieve a certain goal. If it's a medium or long-term goal, it's something you set out to do for quite a while, and it's a huge confidence. It just smashes your confidence, really, when you don't achieve something that it is a goal throughout the whole season to win. And it's, especially when failing it is quite a big thing. It's also very difficult to get all the SMART targets, all the SMART parts of the targets, to get them all together and then complete it all perfectly. My next technique of a coach is demonstration. First of all, it's interactive, so it shows what they need and it gives you a visual aspect and keeps attention. The visual aspect being that you have to keep the attention of the people that you are coaching and that they watch you break it down into sections and show them how to do it. It develops new skills quickly due to them having a mental image of how to do it and what they should be looking like when doing it. It helps visual learners particularly, and it is cheap due to the fact that you have the equipment and everything necessary already, because you are coaching this and they will need it. The people you're coaching will need it to perform the skill anyway. It breaks it down into steps and is easily repeated, so that if anyone doesn't have their attention down onto it, you can repeat it very quickly. Cons of this would be that there is a correct technique needed, so it's through a coach that as long as they know what they're doing, then they're going to if they know what they're doing, then it's going to be fine and they can teach it correctly. If they don't, then it's going to be taught incorrectly and can go it isn't taught correctly and they're not learning the skill correctly, and perhaps it's not going to be as efficient or useful. It's very difficult to keep attention for large groups, and the length of the demonstration, if it is too long, can be very problematic, as you do begin to lose attention of large groups. And even with a one-to-one, if someone is talking to your face for such a long time and they're trying to explain something in a demonstration, it does become very boring. It also needs a combination of verbal cues, as just showing someone will not only it will lose attention, it's going to be very boring, but if they've never done the skill before, then they're not going to know what you're doing, even if you're showing them. So you do have to give them an idea and give them an association with something that they do know, to copy and then use this in the skill that you're teaching. The last technique of a coach I chose was technical instruction. In technical instruction, it's a very in detail instructing of a performer on what to do, where knowledge is very much needed, and it's very good at specifically refining a certain skill, where for, say, perhaps American football, the pitch from a quarterback can be coached directly, and each certain movement can be coached, and someone can be next to an actual coach next to the performer can be next to them, teaching them how to do it. And technical instruction is very good when joined together with demonstration. Technical instruction is good when joining with demonstration. Some pros: it's clear and is very good when coming with planning. So if you were to plan ahead of what you're going to do and what you're going to teach, you then have an idea of what you need to do for this, to teach this skill. And being clear is where you have an idea of what you're doing and you know how to teach it very well. And is very good because you can talk the performer through stages. So if in a situation like swimming, where you're teaching them freestyle, going into a stroke, you can help with technical instruction by watching when they perform. You can see just how they for, say, their stroke. You can see how their hand enters, at what angle, and what kind of distance from their body. So if they're putting their thumb in first, which has been taught before, they put their thumb in first at a 90-degree angle of that elbow and extend back as soon as it gets into the water. Extend their elbow and extend their arm and then pull back. And technical instruction can teach them as fingers in first and then extend. It has to be maybe a 45-degree angle, extend and then pull back underneath you. Some cons is that, again, attention is needed at all times, and with this it can be very difficult to keep attention because it's all focused on you, so it can become very tedious. especially when being repeated. It's difficult and very complicated when it comes to refining a certain skill, when you know the skill and you're trying to improve it massively. So with improving this, it's then trying to get the best out of you, where it's trying to get the best parts of the skill and you putting it into it so it's the best it possibly can. Lastly, it's that it can take a very long time due to having to be repeated over and over to get the perfect movement, say in a throw, getting the perfect technique and getting the perfect angle of how you throw and everything, where it all comes together and you have to keep saying it, and perhaps they might not get it the first time, so you do have to keep repeating it to make sure that they get it and keep improving to the perfect point.